few minutes, I want to look at a subject called earning the right to be heard. It's again to do with witnessing, to do with winning people for Jesus. I have been significantly impacted by a writer and speaker called Lawrence Singlehurst. His book, entitled Sowing, Reaping, Keeping, has been an invaluable tool for me. I've had it many, many years. In fact, I've just purchased another booklet of his called Transforming Values, A New Way to Disciple. One of the points he makes is that historically a person would believe first and then come to belong. In the postmodern era, however, which is the era we now live in, this has changed, and people now want to belong first before they believe. This affects our evangelism. We now need to establish a relationship with someone of the postmodern era before we can win them to Christ. Of course there are exceptions to this. Jesus is bigger than the postmodern era, and I guess like me, you've heard of those who, even without meeting another Christian, comes to faith. I know of a guy in prison who just picked up the Gideon's Bible and became a Christian. However, the general rule is that they need to belong first. This makes getting to know you an important step in evangelism. One of the best ways to establish a relationship with someone is by something called earning the right to be heard. I'll give you an example. In our last home, before we moved up here, we had a neighbour whose wife died. He was an elderly gentleman, and we chatted when we saw him outside. You know, if we were mowing the lawn or something, we would chat to him outside his house. But for quite a time, it didn't go much further than that. We did invite him round to dinner once, and he seemed to enjoy that. And then, in chatting with him, I discovered that he loved stew. Now, his daughters, who tended to look after his meals, didn't make stew. So every time I made stew for us, I made a portion for him and took it to his house. This act on a regular basis earned us the right to be heard by him, and eventually he joined our life group. There are all sorts of ways we can earn the right to be heard, and each of them are great icebreakers as well to break into a new relationship, an entrance into a relationship. I'm just going to list a few of them just to get your mind thinking and your ideas going. Probably you could think of a load more. Making cakes or other food for someone, listening to someone's troubles without there being another agenda. I think that's really important. Just listening to them and showing them sympathy and empathy. Doing someone's shopping, walking someone's dog, visiting someone in hospital, mowing someone's lawn. Now this is the one that we do. We've got a young family next door to us who both work, the parents both work, and so when we mow our lawn, at the front we include theirs. And naturally we've developed a really good relationship with them and become quite friendly, even though we've only been there a short time. We haven't yet got to the position of witnessing, but as I said in my previous talk, witnessing these days needs to be a long-term commitment. Taking in their parcels when they're not at home is another one. We're one of the few older people in our estate, and so we get loads of people's parcels because the delivery guys have got to know, oh well, they'll be in at number 50. In fact, doing anything to be a help to someone without any expectation of the favour being returned or without a witnessing agenda. Now, doing these kindnesses may never result in you winning someone to the Lord, but not doing these kindnesses will surely restrict your opportunities. People do have a hunger for something more, but they don't usually know what their dissatisfaction is about, or that the answer is in Jesus. Many people want to talk about God, but not just anybody is safe to talk to. Let's just think about that a moment. Who would be unsafe? We need to avoid being like the Christian salesman, pushy, manipulative, with our own agenda. It's such a danger when we go to witness that we have our agenda and that's all important, and we don't really listen. We don't respect other people's values and views. I like to think of an analogy: wrestling, not dancing. You know the difference when you're wrestling with someone and trying to get them to submit and do what you want, whereas when you're dancing and you're moving in rhythm, in harmony with them. Maybe in your life group, when I've finished talking, you want to actually demonstrate that with the two of you. Try wrestling and then try dancing. It really brings home the difference of not being the sort of person that people can't trust. Arguing, not conversing. Maybe that ought to be another subject. The whole problem about arguing and how it breaks down any possibility of winning people. You have to see, like, approach and serve people if you want to become their spiritual friend. We need to earn their trust first by acts of kindness. This coming week, why not try and earn the right to be heard with someone near you? God bless you.